Hi, this is Amanda Burse, also known as Marcy Rhodes Darcy, and you're listening to the Married with Children podcast.
Let's roll.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I get a whooping?
Whoa,
No Man presents, live from the nudie bar, the Married with Children podcast. And here are your hosts, Jerry, Justin, and Al.
Wow, one whole season gone yet again. We have just completed Married with Children Season 2. We reviewed every episode from Poppies by the Tree to All in the Family. Married with Children Season 2, a season which spanned over the period of September 27th, 1987 to May 1st, 1988. That's the the whole time Season 2 was going on. Now we are going to do an overview of the whole season. I am joined, as always, by Jerry. What's up, Jerry?
I'm here to remind everyone how good Steve is in Season 2.
How could we possibly forget with you on the show?
Well, I won't let you.
And we're also joined by a guy who's waiting for a joke but doesn't get one on season wrap-up shows, Justin. What's up?
I'm here to remind everybody how weak Jerry was during Season 2.
Ooh.
Whoa, shots fired. Weak. Oh.
I'm just kidding, buddy.
This was his worst performance?
I think you'd have to ask Reese for his worst performance.
Wow. I would ask you to find out yours, but your hand doesn't talk.
All right.
Does it know sign language? Okay. So, well, apparently Jerry sucked from April 19th to September 6th, which is how long it took us to review Season 2. That was, we started April 19th with Season 2, 2017. We finished on September 6th, 2017, my 38th birthday. That is, that's interesting. So, today is September 13th, and it is time to wrap the season up, guys. You know how we do it. We talk about our, top 3 favorite episodes, 2 least favorite episodes. We talk about things that we missed along the way that you guys filled us in on Facebook. Like, somebody will say, oh, did you guys, I guess you guys didn't realize that, this person was on the show. Do you know who that is? And things like that. When the show's already in the can, we're not going to talk about it when we're reviewing something else, 3 episodes down the road or whatever. So we just save it all, and we figure it's good material for this wrap-up show. This is where we plug in all those holes wherever we were lacking all year long, or all season long. Hottest chick on Season 2.
Is this even a competition? I mean, it's the brunette chick with the pink top and light blue bottoms from The Great Escape. There's just no other choice. There's no one that's better than her.
Well, let's see who we got. We got the blonde from Master the Possibilities, who was dating the old guy when Al and Peg were in the hot tub.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you're into like a skinny version of Anna Nicole Smith, I guess.
Well, we couldn't see a lot of her, but from what we could tell, she is hot, but we just couldn't get an absolute verification of that. Now, you also have Tiffany from Earth Angel. Her, I gotta say, although I'm way into her and stuff, her face is the face of an older person in a bad way. She kind of reminds me of someone's mom or something from the 80s. So, although her body is pretty hot, I'm looking at it now, her face just is not doing it. So, your girl I'm looking at now, her face is not my type either. But it's definitely better looking, and she's younger. Beyond that, we have her 2 friends. the one who seems like a black girl maybe in like a pink leotard, is pink with black going down the sides. And then you got her white cokehead friend.
I was hoping you would make a cocaine reference because that's what it reminded. Like it were like you know what I was actually thinking? You know who she looks like? She looks like the blonde waitress who was hanging out with the dude for coke in Friday the 13th Part 5.
Friday 5, yeah.
Yeah, they look similar.
I love that girl.
And then you have major competition, Jerry. You have the legendary repeat hot chick of Married with Children, Jade, played by Terry Wiggle, who we all know was in Playboy. I mean, that's a level, dude. You just don't get into Playboy because of whatever. Like, there are thousands of women trying to get in there. And your girl might have got in. I don't know.
Oh, she would have got into play. She would have been Playmate of the Year. Penthouse is calling her like, come on. But she's like, well, Hustler's giving me a better offer right now. Like, Hugh Hefner is personally like inventing text messaging just so he can text message her, you know, what you doing? Like, get out of here. Literally, the guy who played Joey in Friends was watching this show when he came up with the catchphrase, how you doing? He saw her, and that's what happened. I don't care what you say. Brunette chick in the pink top and light blue bottoms is the hottest chick, and she's hotter than Jade. I said it.
We don't have names on these girls, I believe, but their real name... Well, they do have names on the show. Jackie, Trish, and Mitzi, but we don't know how they were... You know, I don't think they called each other by their names. So those three actresses... so one of your girls is named Kim Anderson, Barbara Belmonte, and Barbara Shilaki. So you might want to search those three names up, and maybe you'll strike gold with your chick. So, Justin, how do you... I mean, am I missing any girls of season 2?
What about Peg from Poppies by the Sea, by the Tree?
Oh, yeah, Peg. Yeah, let's
Remember
throw
we
her
had that
in there.
conversation.
Yeah, and the girl with the who handed the towel to Al that said, get out now?
What about the refrigerator girl?
Her?
Oh, yeah, refrigerator girl. She was all right. She was okay. I was digging the bandana shirt.
Yeah, she was in Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I'm looking at her now.
I just don't think, like, I don't know. For me, as soon as I saw brunette chick, I was done. That was game over. When we pick season 3, I'm probably going to come back and pick her for season 2.
Right. I'm looking now. Her face is not doing it. So now we're left with Jerry's girl in the pink top, blue bottom, or Jade.
Well, hold on. JP, do you have a favorite that, or is it between these two for you also?
It's between those two.
Okay, so I'm clearly picking brunette. Alex, who are you picking here?
Man, like...
Decision time. Let's go.
If we were to say you could only be with one of these girls ever, and only once, I have a bunch of angles of the one you like right now.
I'm trying to get more angles, personally.
You know, just because of my nostalgia, I'm going to have to go with Jade. I'll tell you why. Because Jade is a major part of Married with Children. Now, she was a reoccurring character who appeared in seasons 2 and 3. She was in the episodes The Great Escape, which is where Bud says, can I show you some of our bras? She was in Father Load, where she saw Al counting the money, and she said she just realized she's in love with him. And when did you realize that? When you saw the 8th $20 bill in his hand? Or she was also in season 3 in the episode My Mom the Mom and Do You Think I'm Sexy? So she's in 4 episodes. So I'm going to go with her. You're going with your chick. And Justin, where are you going? You're the tiebreaker here.
Well, this is a very tough competition. I
don't even think this is a competition.
I do, man. I do.
Dude, Jade was in Playboy. You can't say she was a competition.
I think I'm going to have to go with Jade, dude.
What? Y'all are hot. Okay. I need all my real Married with Children fans to know that they're wrong and I'm right on this one. I've been wrong twice in this season, to Alex. I'm holding my ground on this one.
It might help that I have seen Jade naked. Like, that's all that's playing in my head right now.
Jade's body is more polished. The girl you like could use some actual... Like, she should live out her character and have some gym time. Like, she needs to tighten up a little bit. Just a little. She's not a train wreck or anything like that, but you could tell she's not polished. It's the same difference from when Lou Ferrigno went against Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1976 Mr. Olympia. He was big, and he was the new thing, but Arnold just had that polished, refined look that was just totally, thoroughly perfect. And that's the difference between these girls.
I think that, yeah, I'm going to stick with Jade.
Yep. Well, hey, we will put this up for polls on our Facebook group page. Be sure to join it, guys. Married with Children podcast. It's not hard to find.
I mean, there's a reason why Jade has a name, and the other girl's just like girl number C.
Well, they had a name, but nobody used them.
Yeah.
So
I don't need a name. I don't even need to hear her talk. She ain't going to do much talking anyway.
You are so deep, Jerry.
I
just hope she is.
really am.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the hottest chick of season 2, guys. I hope none slipped our minds. I don't think so. I mean, unless you want to throw in the triplets.
No, I don't think we do.
Oh, man.
Okay, now I'm just messing with you. So, all right, guys. So let's talk about some of the people that have been on this show. So, Married with Children season 2. You know, we really want to dig deep here and go all the way. So, let's start with Poppy's by the tree. Now, this blonde with the towels that she slipped out of the note. Her real name, in the show, her name was Becky. Her real name is Kim Green. And she's known for Another World, Miss Congeniality 2, and Mad Max Churro Road. That's like a 2016 spoof movie or something like that. So she's still acting to this day, which is pretty amazing. So the episode, If I Were a Rich Man, one thing that you're supposed to know, one thing Jerry pointed out that he was sort of struggling with, that was one of the first times that this show gave us the kind of humor that is not realistic or not grounded in any real way. And it was Peg and the two kids at the top of the Sears Tower, and they were going to have like a family suicide. And they kept saying, shoes, he sells shoes. And they're going to jump off the Sears Tower. Well, at the time that they filmed that was... the Sears Tower was the tallest building in the world. So it worked out that they were in Chicago and they had that claim to fame at the same time, which I can't understand how that's true. Is the Sears Tower taller than the World Trade Center? Because the Twin Towers, because those were made in the 70s, I know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so the episode Buck Can Do It, where Buck gets, he's going to get neutered. The guy who played Buck as a human being, if you all remember Al's dream, he was talking to Buck and he had like long legs and all. He's like a human with a dog's face and hair on his body. His name was Derek McGrath. He is known for things like Doc, My Secret Identity, and a movie called Charlie Bartlett. I've never heard of those, but...
Oh, I've seen Charlie Bartlett. That movie was actually good.
Yeah, he's in that. Now, Justin knows this guy really well. His name is Zorro. Justin used to work with him back in the 90s. In the episode Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Zorro was played by Bill Huffsey. He has 27 credits, believe it or not, on IMDb. Fame, The Young and the Restless, and Days of Our Lives. He was like the typical soap opera actor. You know, the good-looking, tan, I guess Latin lover or whatever. I guess that's what he was on these shows. You got now Allie of the Dolls. This Mimi Stokes was, Peg's rival in high school. And she's played by Deborah Harmon, who is in Just the 10 of Us, Used Cars, and Bachelor Party.
That makes sense. She kind of looks like a used car and a bachelor party at the same time.
Yeah, she would be the entertainment at a bachelor party if it was at a dive bar.
Yeah.
So now we get to more colorful characters. Not that Zorro is not a colorful character, but you can't beat Jimmy from How Do You Spell Revenge, the weirdo who, Jimmy from the aquarium.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he's played by John Johnston. Now, he actually has...
Wait, hold up. Time out. John Johnston?
Yeah.
Some parent knew their last name was Johnston and still named him John?
Dude, I kid you not. I work with a guy named Eric Erickson.
Why? Why would you do that?
That's creative parents right there.
I don't know. That's Jimmy's fate. He was in Annie Hall, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He's probably a friggin' alien because he looks like one on the show on Married with Children. And he was in A Walk in the Clouds. Now, his son, Brian, who was supposed to get the tattoo with Kelly, his name is Chris Cam, and he is like, he didn't have the greatest career, but he's working, I suppose. I don't know if he's living off of it, but he was in Coach, the show, Wyatt Earp, and this movie from 1988, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Now, being horror fans, I guess you guys have seen that one at least, right?
Yep. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it has a big cult following, but like, it's just okay to me. I like Elvira though.
We should watch it again and look for Brian.
Yeah.
I own it.
See if we could spot Kelly on his arm.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Brian's like literally the only one out of Kelly's boyfriends this season that gets a name. Like last season, we at least got like Cobra and Roger and Dweeb. Like we got a couple of names. This season, the only other guy that gets mentioned is in the Valentine's Day episode. And she just said, when she's like, no, don't pick that person. Don't pick that person.
Right.
Pick that person. And that person, I think, was like John or something. But Brian's the only one in this season that gets any real attention.
Well, that makes sense because he had an actual story plot. I mean, all the rest are just kind of more or less jokes, right? I mean,
yeah, but we at least like get names like Cobra and Roger and Dweeb. Like we get names instead of just her coming home and being like, I left two guys knife fighting over this.
Right. Well, she's not going to... Would it make sense to say, I left Jerry and Rick knife fighting over me? Like, wow, it would seem weird just saying two guys are knife fighting at a train tracks.
Jerry, you gotta win that knife fight.
Oh, for Kelly? Now that we're getting into season 3? We're getting into season 3. I'm winning this knife fight.
It's a long knife fight.
I've been ducking and dodging, waiting for my time.
Yeah, we've been fighting time right now for her. Now it's, I think everything is on the up and up, no pun intended. So now you get to this episode, the most controversial and I would say infamous Married with Children podcast episode, Earth Angel. These guys just were not having it, man. Like, I don't know what they didn't like about that episode, but I think I gave it a 5. Let me see.
You did?
Yeah, I gave it a 5. And these guys gave it a 3.5 and a 2.5. The 3.5 is actually not bad at all. I think I was mostly bummed out by Justin's lack of enthusiasm while maybe wrapping it up the way he was talking about it, but he still was generous with the score. But Jerry was just outright, like, he gave the thing we fear all the time, 2.5.
I like when Jerry gets like real serious about his cookies.
Yeah, he gets serious.
Is how, like, I gotta know from an audience standpoint, do y'all feel the same way when, like, because when we go under the 3, like, obviously we still like Married with Children, we still like the episodes, but I want to know how they feel about this. How do you feel about me dogging out Earth Angel like this and not? He's right. I get serious where I'm like, it just did not work for me. No matter what I tried, it did not work for me. And I say it because, I mean, if we're just going to sit here and massage Al's feet every episode, that's just not the Bundy way.
Yeah, because they stink.
Yeah, you wouldn't live. You wouldn't survive. I don't massage his feet every episode, and I still gave that one a high score. So, no, I don't think it's that you have to always give a high score. I think I was just surprised at which one you didn't give it to. That's all.
Yeah. I wonder if, Alex, if you're ever going to give an episode under a 3.
I'm sure I will.
Under a 2.5?
No, just under a 3. I want to see if, like, it might be a
Right.
2.9, but I want to see if he breaks.
I know 2.9.
Yeah, we don't go that far with it.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. He had 2.97. I don't know how he's going to do this, but I just can't wait to see what episode, because I hope I love that episode.
Ha!
That would
it will be interesting.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
Well, what I do know is that when we put that up on our Facebook group page, everybody else really liked it. And I believe the general rating was a 4 to a 4.5.
Well, you know, they're allowed to be wrong. They didn't find their inner Steve to give the right answer, and I can understand that. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Hey, if everybody else was as amazing as you, then why would you be special? So.
It's such a difference in
Exactly.
ratings. That's why I think it's so interesting, is because it's like polar opposites. Because 2.5 is the lowest that we've rated, and Alex comes in at a 5. It's an interesting contrast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, Tiffany was played by Dawn Merrick. And that's funny because my wife's name is Tiffany and her sister's name is Dawn. So that's kind of a weird thing.
Is your brother's name Merrick by chance? Because that would be really crazy.
Now, Tiffany at this point is 58 years old. Just to give you like a wow, do I feel old kind of thing. Like, man, I was watching Tiffany pretty much when this show came out as a kid, and now she's 58. And look how young she was on that show. Like, wow. So I guess she was like 28 or something.
Well, that's all right. When she was playing Tiffany, I was like -6 months old.
Right. So she was in General Hospital. Her career must have just gone horribly wrong because she was in that movie Three Ninjas with Hulk Hogan.
Wow, she was in a third Three Ninjas movie?
Is that the High Noon one or whatever?
Yeah, that's the High Noon one. That one's like number 3.
I seriously haven't watched those since I was a kid.
Yeah, that was her fate. So, and she was in a movie called The Alaska Kid.
It's probably because I gave an episode a 2.5 why her career failed.
You had great foresight. It was actually hindsight. You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Now, Barney, in that episode, who paid Al to do landscaping in Al's backyard. He was the guy that we talked about in Friday the 13th Part 3. He's Harold. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the poker game.
And he was in the poker game. Yep. And he's going to come back again. His name is Steve Susskind. And unfortunately, he died in January of 2005 at the age of 62. But he had a pretty decent career. He was in Friday the 13th Part 3, Monsters, Inc., and Star Trek V. I could just picture him now with a horseshoe crab on his forehead.
Oh my god.
So now we can move on to now one of the cool things we did in season 2 that was very interesting because it's an old saying, really. Justin and I really hate watching Christmas stuff out of season because I think the three of us are actually way into it. Like, something clicked in us one year of our life, and we just learned to appreciate the holiday of Christmas. So we go all out. We watch all the Christmas movies, all the Christmas cartoons or episodes of stuff. So we're into it. We love it. We do it every year. And unfortunately, we had to have Christmas in July for this show.
At least it did work out in that, like, novelty Christmas in July type thing.
Yeah, like that old saying, it's so weird, Christmas in July. Like, how odd is it that happened to us, you know? And I was even toying with the idea of, like, always holding off on the Christmas ones and just doing them when we're more near December and just saying, hey, you know, we skipped this one, now we're going to do it now. But I think it'll get too convoluted at that point.
I agree. I think that's the bad choice, but I was thinking of that as well. When you first mentioned to me doing this show, because I know sitcoms are big for holiday episodes, everything from Roseanne to Home Improvement to this, and I thought like, oh, that's gonna be weird because I'm really into holiday themed shows and episodes and stuff, so that's one of the first things I thought of. And I even had thought like, oh, wonder if we'll like hold off on it or time it or something, but it just doesn't make sense for this format of show. And I think you made the right call.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're doing here is a chronological exploration of Married with Children. So to put our fingers in it that way is just taking too many liberties, I think. And it's just like, well, dude, just review it. Who cares? It's going a little far. So the one thing I want to say, we already talked about the coroner. He's that guy from Wayne's World, and we like him. What struck me about this episode that I thought was really crazy is I just did a little, searching, and I was thinking of some of the other guys in the episode, and the guy who delivered the basket of fruit. Remember, he said, "Do the Schmidts live here?"
No, he said Rhodes. Schmitz is who it's from.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, duh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, to the Rhodes. It's weird. I was thinking of that, but I remember Schmidt so well that I said, oh, no, it must be Schmidt that I'm thinking of. But yeah, you're right. Because she said, it's from the Schmidts. And Al's like, yeah, good people. Yeah, you're right. So she stole Marcy's fruit basket. Now, so I just looked up the guy who delivered the fruit basket just on a hunch. And his name is Robert Petkov. And what struck me is that he has 22 acting credits. You have to get a real actor just for that part? Like, couldn't, like, the guy, like, the best boy Grip, just knock on the door and hand that to them?
I know. That's weird, man. Because, like, I mean, I'm sure if you just get one of the Grips or something, you don't have to pay them extra.
Right.
But if you actually get a speaking role, unless there is some kind of role against
that.
Oh,
yeah. If they speak, you have to be in the...
Could be a union thing also.
Yeah. You have to be in the Actors Guild. Okay.
Mm.
Well, what's even stranger is the mall guy who's like, we have it all, Lakeside Mall, so we don't have to pay you? So nobody knows what really happened? That guy, his name is David Rupkret, and he has 55 acting credits.
Wow.
I just thought that was amazing. Like, the two most minor roles are still performed by, I guess, people who went to acting school. So now we move on to Peg Loves Al, yeah. And this girl that Bud got the Valentine from, April, May, June, her name is Leon Jones, and she was in that show Small Wonder. You ever hear of that with the girl's like a robot?
No, not at all.
Go to YouTube and search Small Wonder intro or whatever, because, it's one of those shows where on the intro they explain everything to you. Like, what's a show that does that? There's like, like The Fresh Prince. Don't they tell you like his whole story? Yeah.
In West
in the intro.
Philadelphia, born and raised.
Yeah.
On the playground where I spent most of my days.
Yeah, so that's what they do with Small Wonder. She's a girl who is a robot. It's like the weirdest show ever. And then this girl, April, May, June, she also, her career is just tanking because she was in Still the Beaver.
Is that a Leave It to Beaver thing?
Yeah, like...
Wait, did she go into porn?
That's the next step. Yeah, she was in Still the Beaver. Like, this guy, Jerry Mathers, I guess, he came back as the Beaver at like 35 or 40 years old.
Like, oh, that's fun. That has to be cringy. I don't know, man. Like, I liked Leave It to Beaver. I've probably watched like the first 2 seasons or something, but I couldn't imagine that little kid being like an adult, like being Beaver.
Yeah. What? I'm going to search real quick. Still the Beaver. Okay, I just want to see how long this lasted.
Oh, I want to guess. I don't think it couldn't have gone more than 2 seasons.
Okay, let me say.
I'm going to say 3 episodes.
I said 2 seasons.
Jerry's in the more of a right direction.
3 seasons?
No.
4 seasons?
1983 to 1989.
Oh, whoa.
And I've
Wow.
literally never heard one person say anything about it ever.
Ever in my entire life. The show is the continuing adventures of the whole gang. Beaver and the gang are all grown up. Beaver is divorced and living with his mom.
What
and
the
his 2
hell?
sons.
Beaver doesn't get a divorce. This is like a family-friendly thing.
Oliver and Kip. Wally has his wife, Mary Ellen, and daughter and son, Kevin. Eddie Haskell is still around and has his wife, Gert, and 2 sons, played by his real-life sons.
Dude,
Oh
why do
my
I think
God.
of like old Biff from Back to the Future being Eddie Haskell?
Isn't Eddie Haskell the kid in the movie It? Or no, Eddie Hanscom, I think it is.
No, it's Ben Hanscom.
Ben Hanscom, yeah.
And you got Eddie Spaghetti.
Yeah, okay, I'm blending 2 people. Yeah, look at this cover that they have for this picture of them on the poster.
What's it called?
Still the Beaver.
This
Here you have to write in, though, apparently, the new Leave It to Beaver. If you write that, then you'll get to Still the Beaver, which went on for 102 episodes.
Oh, there was a TV movie.
Oh, there was also a movie.
Still the Beaver is a 1983 TV movie which launched the new Leave It to Beaver TV series that ran from 83 to 89. So not only is there a new TV series, but there was a goddamn movie. This is crazy.
I wonder if anyone made a porno spoof of it called Still in the Beaver.
Well, if there isn't, there should be now.
You just gave away $1 million idea, buddy. So,
Edit that shit out.
yeah. Now this Beaver guy, he actually shows up.
Yeah.
He shows up on Married with Children. He plays a loser who... Oh, he plays himself. But he's like a loser who he's like relegated to doing appearances in supermarkets. Because this was before conventions were big. Back then, like famous people, like you could meet Adam West at like a tire dealership or something. Like that's what these guys did before they started these conventions. And then, you'd get an autograph or pick, and that's how, they would pay those guys, and they would get you there, and they feel that you would buy a car if you were there.
Honey, I'm going to meet Leave It to Beaver. Honey, I came home with this new car.
Oh God! All right, so that's pretty much everyone now, except for the girl we talked about a couple times. So. We already talked about her as the hottest chick, Terry Weigel. So I'll just say one last thing about her until next season. She was in Predator 2, and supposedly she was naked during the whole movie. I mean, every scene of her, she's basically naked. So I might actually watch that now because I've been avoiding Predator 2 like the plague because one of my favorite movies of all time is Predator. And I just remember as a kid... I thought that whole thing about being in the city was just ridiculous. I thought it was horrible.
You're not going to like this, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I like
You
Predator,
like
2
Predator 2
way more than Predator 1.
I think that's
Way more.
insane.
I
That's
love Predator
insane.
2.
I've seen Predator 2 once when I was a kid, and I don't remember really caring for it, and I love Predator, so I think Jerry's just wrong then.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. He's allowed to be wrong. She was in that, so she's naked. So now I'm going to probably give it a shot again as an adult. She went into porno at 29 years old.
Pretty old to go into porn. Because what year did she do that?
91. She was 29. So on Married with...
So that's before the whole MILF generation, too.
Yeah, well, she was in Playboy in 1986. So that's 5 years earlier. So she was in Playboy at 24 years old. And then she was on Married with Children 2 years later, 26. So after that, 27, she was in Married with Children 2. And just a year or two later, she said, well, it's time for porn.
And she did porn till 2014.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And she has like a sad... I'm sure she's done now, I think, because she's 55 years old now. And her 63-year-old husband died after 29 years of marriage. I think he died a year or two ago after being married for 29 years. So I went and bought her first Playboy ever. It's the April 1986 Playboy, and she's the centerfold. So I have it. It's almost in like mint condition. I mean, it's...
Is that the one I pointed out on the show?
Yeah, I think you did. Unless not the one up down Bud's pants.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, you're right. But I thought I looked it up
I think you did
on eBay or something.
Yeah, you did, and I immediately bought it. Now the one down Bud's pants was that Penthouse, January 1986.
Which Penthouse is way more hardcore than Playboy. She's had a couple of boob jobs since then too.
Yeah, look at her. Oh my God.
Work on her lips.
I don't know. I still think she looks all right.
I mean, it looks like what I would imagine it to look like at this point.
Yeah.
I just found a Playboy, November 1985 she was in. So I don't have the first one.
Nope, you're right.
No.
She was in a 85 one.
Yeah, with her pink hat and the cover. I have to go get that now. It's $7.50 on eBay. Okay, I'll buy it. Buy it now. Bam. Better be in good... It says good condition. I guess that's good. $7.50. Confirm and pay. Okay. All right. Well, I got that one now. So, yeah. So that's what she's up to. So she still looks okay for a 55-year-old chick. I guess I'll look up one of her newer porns and see what that's like.
Do you think is there more girls on this show throughout seasons that are have been a Playboy playmate?
I think so.
Because your Playboy collection is going to get pretty big.
I know. Well, I have. Oh, there is actually Brandy Brandt, Miss October 1987. Now, I bought that Playboy already. That's going to be a huge show. It's Al in search of that Playboy.
Nice.
I have it framed in a glass frame above my bar in my man cave. It's been there since I moved into this house. So, yeah, I had to get that one. So now, doing this show, it appears I have to get a lot of them. So, I look like a perv already.
No, I swear, it's for the show.
Yeah. On my eBay feedback is as, this perv has really fast payment methods. Okay, so now let's get... So that's everybody, guys. That's about everybody that we didn't cover, really. Special guest stars and all that. Now let's get to one thing I always find interesting. Like, Married with Children is big for naming the episodes after something that's relevant or just something popular or whatever. So, sometimes we name, why... Like, we say why an episode was called something. Like, recently, we talked about father load, and I said how, well, that's usually you hit the mother load and stuff like that or whatever. I did that with a lot of these episodes, but there's some that I missed, so I just want to definitely get that out there. For the first episode of the season, the second one, Buck Can Do It. That is adapted, the title Buck Can Do It is adapted from a line in the song Let's Fall in Love. I guess it's We Can Do It. And I don't know, like the writers, whatever must have known this or whatever. So the whole Poppies by the Tree thing, that was, a common Florida beachfront resorts edition by the sea. Like everything's by the sea in Florida.
Yeah, and with this one they'll do it's by the tree because they don't have a sea. They have a tree, one TV somewhere, and the guy who met Andy Griffith.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what the whole thing is. So If I Were a Rich Man, where Steve and Al were contemplating whether or not they should rob the bank, that was a song from The Fiddler on the Roof.
I've never actually watched Fiddler on the Roof, any version of it.
Right.
Have you?
No, I can't imagine it's good, but I guess it is. So we talked about For Whom the Bell Tolls. That's a Ernest Hemingway novel. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I mentioned that was a Cyndi Lauper song. One thing we didn't say, one of the episodes, an odd episode of our podcast, Born to Walk, that's the episode I, for some dumb reason, underproduced. So, although it was a pretty good conversation, it just didn't come off the same because it just wasn't us, because it wasn't clip heavy like they normally are. So, I don't know. People just didn't really say anything about that episode. But that was this Bruce Springsteen song, "Born to Run." So it's "Born to Walk."
Yes.
Al lost his license, you know.
Yeah. So if you ever want to appreciate how much Alex does, you can go listen to that episode and then go listen to the next episode in the season, and you'll see how much his production matters with this show.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how little anyone spoke of that episode. It was almost like it never was released. I was like, I wonder if they noticed. And then
I think they noticed.
Yeah, because they had nothing to say about it. And that was one of my favorite ones, because I thought that was one of those episodes where I kind of forgot that it was really good, and it was a real strong episode. So
yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Now, Alley of the Dolls, the one where the Bundys go bowling against what were their names? The Stouts?
The family with the missed lesbian joke.
Yeah, a lesbian joke it's like the pink elephant in the room that we are not addressing. The daughter Mimi Stoats. Oh, Stoats. Yeah, they just did not go with that lesbian joke for some odd reason. So that was called Alley of the Dolls, and that's a movie, Valley of the Dolls, by Russ Meyer, which I don't know. I should have looked it up. It could have just been the name Alley and Valley. Somebody just put that together. I don't know if it really relates to the episode.
Yeah, that sounds like it would almost be like them just going with the easy play on words.
Yeah. The Razor's Edge, where Steve did not shave. It says, this is all from, by the way, bundyology.com. That's a cool website. All things Married with Children. But I know a lot of people don't take the time to, look this stuff up. So it's great to just sit back and get it on our show, I guess. Razor's Edge. It just says play, movie with Teresa Russell. So I guess that's the actual name of the movie, The Razor's Edge.
I guess so.
Yeah. How do you spell revenge? My favorite episode of the season, seemingly. I didn't even realize that that's the slogan. How do you spell relief? The Rolaids with Tommy Lasorda.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah, and that's a baseball reference, I guess, and it was all about baseball, that one. Except for...
it had the side story of baseball. You thought the whole episode was going to be about baseball, and then they threw that curveball at you.
Ooh, wow, look at you.
Yeah,
Dynamite dropping, Monty. That was a baseball reference.
I didn't get it.
Major League.
Oh, the movie Major League.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
I like that one and the second one.
I hated the second one as a kid, and then I watched it again as an adult about 2-3 years ago, and it was not as bad, but not as classic.
I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but
yeah.
As for a parody movie goes,
right,
those are pretty good. I feel like parody movies lost all their wit.
Yeah, I think we have to wait for another whole avalanche of that once people rethink things.
When people start remaking Mel Brooks movies.
Now, Earth Angel, I might have said that was the song. I don't know if I said anything, but it was obviously Earth Angel is that song sung in Back to the Future. But the original, it's originally by these guys called the Penguins. So if you want to hear the original version of Earth Angel, you have to go there. You Better Watch Out. That's, of course, You Better Watch Out.
You better watch out. You better not pout. You better not shout. I'm telling you. Wait, am I messing that up?
'Cause Santa will land in your backyard. And Bud will look.
And Jerry was wrong about that scene.
Bud looked at him, you know what I mean.
But Steve is still the best character on screen.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
Guys and Dolls is a play, apparently. Build a Better Mousetrap. We talked about that already.
Mm-hmm.
Master the Possibilities. I actually thought that was something different. I told everybody that because I didn't look it up on here because I felt I knew what it already was, and I guess I could be right and wrong. Master the Possibilities is straight up the slogan for MasterCard, and that's where Buck gets the credit card and the Bundys use it. And I said that it was, and this is like a really genius thing if you think about it. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm saying if they thought of this. Master is how a dog refers to his owner. So master, the possibilities. That's what all I thought they were referring to.
Yeah, I like that better than them just stealing the tagline.
Yeah.
I mean, that works too, but like I kind of like the idea of
the combo of it all.
Yeah, Buck's masters are using his card.
Right.
I like that tangent a lot better, but I mean, whatever.
It is what it is, yeah. But it's cool how it could play both ways. I mean, this is just Bundyology saying it. I mean, they seem to really know their stuff, but plus they're not wrong. It is the MasterCard slogan. So, but it's cool how it could go either way. We already said, Peggy Loves Al, yeah, 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 the Beatles song. The Great Escape, we talked about that movie with Steve McQueen. Impotent. Yeah. Now, Impotent.
I think that the Impotent might be the most clever out of all of the season 2 names.
Well, I gave an answer. I just said that it was Impa-dent, as in the fire hydrant shaped dent in the car that she put. But in Bundyology, it says, an evil little man is an imp, likes to damage, dent, cars, show content.
No, that's stupid. That's not it. It's being impotent, not being able to perform.
Right. And then
a dent in the car. I gotta disagree with Bundyology on this one. It had nothing to do with a mischievous imp causing problems. I get where they're coming from because I always remember that classic cartoon. Was it a Bugs Bunny cartoon?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the movie Cat's Eye.
No. The classic cartoon with the imp destroying the airplane as Bugs. I think it's Bugs Bunny. Flying it like that is my go-to whenever I think of like the mischievous version of Imp. When I think of the monster version of Imp, I think of the Imp from Doom, the video game.
Okay.
But yeah, no, okay, on that one and Master of the Possibilities, I think we came up with better ones than what's said on the website.
Right.
I'm gonna say pat on the back for us twice, both hands.
Yeah, 2 in a row. Just married with children. Saying just married is, and also married with children, self-referential. I did say that, just married because they posed as Steve and Marcy. Father load. Now I say, yep, I was right. Okay, expression mother load, and also yeah.
On the expression mother, I hit the mother load. Like, why is it mother instead of father? Because if you think about it, back when this catchphrase was probably made, the father brought all the money to the table. Like, but with mother, when I think of mother, if I'm thinking of mother load, I would think of like the mother, like I would think of birthing, like giving birth to something. I think like father load. I think we should have been saying father load all the time. Oh, Al, I hit the father load. You are not going to believe how much I just put on my table.
Right. Well, I know nobody thinks about this, and I admit that I really didn't either. But load is obviously, when we released the show is the only time I really learned about it, but load is spelt differently. It's not L-O-A-D, it's L-O-D-E, and, L-O-D-E refers to a rich source of something.
Yeah, like I found a load of ore.
Right. Not Jonathan Orr.
Yeah, not Jonathan Orr, no, not quite.
No.
Though we could start saying... I found a load of ore whenever he puts out like a 30-minute YouTube video.
Oh, yeah, I found a load of ore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his new catchphrase.
Just, Jonathan, make sure you don't become a load of bore.
Ooh, and make sure you pay us for that slogan.
Yes. Johnny Orr, not a load of bore.
Yeah, there you go.
And finally, I'm sure I mentioned that All in the Family is just based off of that TV series.
Oh, it's not based off the Korn song?
No.
No Fred Durst involvement here?
Nah, I don't think so.
I mean, both the song and the show both kind of have reference to incest, so maybe there's something, maybe Korn based their song off this episode.
That could be true, because it's a badass show, and Korn is a sort of badass, so they would definitely be into this show.
You would hope so.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about, by the way, guys, Justin stepped out for a minute. Apparently, he got some kind of he made a collect call again, which is a reference to like our 6th show, and he's still doing it. It's crazy. But it turns out a chick in the Jiggly room needed him. I think she has a flat tire or something. I don't even know. So he ran out to go help her out, and I'm sure he's going to...
Yeah, she needed someone to help her screw till they were tired. I meant put the screws on the tire.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to receive payment for this. So I don't know how that's going down, but it might be a while. But we'll get to a couple things before he returns, that we can wrap up the show with our favorite stuff. So let's talk about real quick. What do you think about like episodes when certain characters weren't even there? Like the one obvious one was like when Bud and Kelly were not in the one where...
Oh, the most interesting one was Kelly not being there for Masters of the Possibilities, because they actually like explained why she was not there in the episode.
Yeah, she was like grandma's house or something.
Yeah, because I thought that was the most interesting, just because you would think if they're doing, like, they're buying all this stuff, Kelly would be involved there.
Right, and they were being so dumb that they couldn't... Remember, we decided that the logic was more like Kelly's thinking, and it just... You need that kind of difference to make her character work, so they all couldn't be that stupid in one episode?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was interesting, and I gotta say, although I love all the characters here, and I know Steve and Marcy weren't in a few episodes and stuff, but I don't know, it didn't hurt the show. They seem to be able to exist whether they're all there, whether it's a Buck-focused episode, whether it's a Kelly-focused episode, whether it's a Bud-focused episode, or Steve, or Marcy, like no matter who they're focusing on. I think the one time there was like some kind of odd focus on one person episode that didn't work out was probably just Peg with Peggy Sue Got Work.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when we're missing a character, they seem to write the episode well enough that I would never notice. And I remember there's a few times we've recorded where I was like, so did y'all guys notice this insert character here was not here? And y'all are like, oh, shit, yeah, you're right. So they do pretty good. If they cannot have a character there for whatever reason, they keep up the pace. And typically, I think Master of the Possibilities was the only time where we were like... There was a good reason for Kelly not being there on the technical side of it.
Yeah, and that was interesting that they thought that through. So now, real quick, let's get to a segment, basically thanking people for iTunes reviews. So we have 9 reviews on iTunes now after, 2 seasons, which I guess is not bad, right?
No, it's not bad at all. I mean... Let's be honest. We understand how annoying it is to write an iTunes review, especially if you don't use any Apple products. And having to go in there and write the review and rate it and all that, take the time out of your day to open up the program. We get it. It's not the funnest thing in the world to do. But we really do appreciate it because it will bring more eyes because, let's be honest, a lot of people who listen to podcasts listen to it through iTunes. And if they're searching for a new podcast, the higher our rating is, the more likely we are to be seen, and we can bring more people into this.
Right. Yeah, we got to make this a whole no-man movement, guys. You're all honorary no-man members, and, we're reliving Married with Children, just like our friends' group page on Facebook, and we got to keep this going. The show has not been on the air live for 20 years now. They've been done for 20 years, and from every single little thing I see, it does not look like there will ever be a reunion show. As much as David Faustino would like it, and I definitely think that Fox should give him a shot at, married with grandchildren or whatever he wants. That definitely should eventually happen. I don't know if it's ever gonna, but... So, now, for iTunes ratings, let's read a couple. We don't have too many, so, most people just rated us with 5 stars, so thank you for that, number 1. But for people who said stuff, Abraham Ram, the Ran Man, said, great podcast, 3 hosts who are all accomplished podcasters, by the way, provide great insight into one of TV's funniest shows. So thanks, Abraham. Another person who's a fan of my other podcast, Crew Fan for Life, said, awesome first show. I guess he only heard the first show, but he might have heard more. I don't even know. So right away he dropped this rating. Awesome first show. I'm sure the Bundys would be proud. Cool way to honor the show. Fred the Wolf said, "Whoa, Bundy." He said, with children, being my favorite television sitcom of all time. Watched the show since its premiere to the very end, first run. It's great to see a podcast out there discussing the show episode by episode. The three hosts have great banter and provide some interesting info and insight on all the episodes and the show itself. Couldn't recommend a podcast more if you're a real fan of the show. So thanks, Fred. Sin C. Woody said, excellent podcast. Hope they go through the entire Married with Children series. And she wrote fantastic as the headline. And our newest one is from D. Borgie.
Oh, that's my boy 10 out of 10, Derek.
Oh, good. He said, if you love Married with Children, this, and I can't see what else it says. Fans of Married with Children can rejoice. Fans of podcasts can rejoice. The two worlds collide with this in-depth podcast going through each episode of the famed TV series. All three hosts have great interaction and are really entertaining. So, thanks, guys. I'm glad it's all working out that way. It's obviously what we hoped for, and we're glad. We all are pretty experienced. Collectively, we have, I guess, like 10 years here of podcasting, if you add it all up. So, hopefully everything we did prior to this was like training so that when we get here, we don't have to like fumble around or we could just get right to it. Because I was pretty bad when I started podcasting.
I was fantastic when I started.
Whatever. Okay, let's go. Let's knock out sex points really quick, guys. We always add. We developed a system. I don't even know why we did this, but
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's something else. We decided that it was interesting. The whole thing is that Al does not want to have sex with his wife. It was poorly explained in the end of an episode in the first season when Al speaks of his catcher's mitt. We thought that could have been better.
What a great memory of the show that is. Like, I still remember that as one of the cooler moments.
Yeah. And so I don't know what that we were supposed to get out of that, though, except that she's not as tight as a new glove or something. I'm not really sure.
Oh, man.
I don't know. He said the web is loose. I don't know. So I don't really know where we're going with that whole thing, but he doesn't want to do it regardless. So we decided that whenever Peg does get sex, that we should give her a score on the scorecard, and whenever Al evades sex, that he should get a score, because that's, I don't know, it seems like something. So, Jerry, what do you have for us? You're the statistician on the show.
So first of all, I want to remind everyone that we, in season 1, Al only had like 2 points, and Peg had like 6, I think?
Right, I think it was 6.
Of course, with this season, we had way more episodes, but we also had a lot of episodes where a lot of points never happened, period. And then we would have like one episode that would pop up where a bunch of points would enter. So Al actually has 6 sex points in season 2.
Wow.
And
Al.
So he tripled his score.
yeah, he stepped up, and Peggy ended up with 12 sex
So
points.
she doubled her score.
Yes, because keep in mind, in like Father Load, she ended up getting 4 points. Earth Angel, she ended up getting 4 points.
Wow.
So she racked up on those 2 episodes.
So they both came in and overperformed from their season 1, but it's still a pretty big gap.
Yeah, it's still a very large gap, and it's actually funny because if you go back and look at those 2 episodes, Fatherload and Earth Angel, where most of the points were happening, you actually see like Earth Angel, there was an outside stimulus that was causing Al to actually have a sex drive, and it benefited Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that was very interesting that both those episodes kind of had something that made Al have sex.
What was your favorite sex point award throughout this season?
It's easily him taking one for the team, and Buck can do it. He had sex at the end of the episode with Peggy to keep Buck from getting neutered.
Yeah. I know Justin's favorite is in The Great Escape when Al asks Peg if she wants to do it in front of the kids, and she says, no, they're here. And he goes, okay, see you next fall.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
My favorite will have to be Al losing the points. It's when Peg gets points in Earth Angel. I think, like, when he was just looking at her leg, man, and then she goes, I don't suppose you want to go upstairs with me, and he's like, yes, right now, let's go. Like, that was just so cool. So,
which is funny because they actually, that whole joke is a callback to the one where girls just want to have fun, where the girl's fixing the refrigerator, and then you have Peggy going, she had nice legs, didn't she, Al? Yeah. And she says a few other things. She goes, you want to go upstairs? And he goes, yeah. Wait, with you? And funny enough, I didn't realize this today, and we didn't put it together, and I haven't seen anyone else put it together as of right now, unless I missed it. There was another episode, Impodent, and we talked about that one and how none of us saw the ending coming, where it turns out it was Steve and Al planning and conniving the whole situation. And if you go back to Girls Just Want to Have Fun Part 2, that's Al's speech he gives to her, is what they end up doing in Impodent.
Really?
Yes, when he hands Steve the ring and he gives the whole speech of what he can do and how Steve's like, I'm gonna have a Stepford wife. Literally, he bitches out at the end and just gives her the ring, and then as the end credits go, he makes fun of her going, so you lost it down Zorro's pants, huh? But in Impodent, he actually goes through with it. So while we talked about how there was no actual conversation for us to link back to in Impodent to give us the hint, it's because it was all the way back in the episode 5 or 6. 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, episode 6. That's where the conversation was.
Wow. And I remember there was another situation where something was like hinted on or just touched on for a split second in season 1, and it ended up being completely played out. And I thought it was Impudent. I thought somebody acted like they could not get aroused, and then they went and decided to make a whole episode about that. It don't matter. Yeah, I guess it did happen, though. I just don't remember how. Guys, so there you go. Peg doubled Al, 12-6.
Yep, she's the winner.
2 years in a row now. First, she was 3 times as many as Al. Now she's only twice as many as Al. So
he's closing the gap a little bit.
And to be fair, a lot of the points that Peggy got in this season was Al sacrificing. Whether it was for money or his dog, he did a lot of sacrificing.
All right, well, there you go. I got some emails. For some reason, I didn't paste this the right way, so I'm not sure who they are all from. So, sorry, guys. But,
way to Bundy that.
Hey, don't Bundy that book.
Ooh, is that a foreshadowing of next season?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Don't Bundy those emails.
Regarding the plot hole of how the kids got there, meaning Just Married with Children, how the kids were in the audience as soon as Steve said your kid sold you out for a square meal. I could have sworn Bink said that they picked them from the audience, meaning Steve and Marcy. I figured the kids brought them there and told Steve and Marcy to fill out the questionnaire like Al and Peggy to guarantee they would get picked, ? Yeah, that's a theory. So maybe that's how the kids ended up there immediately. So now there's one moment when Peg says, in Impotent, when Marcy said Steve was impotent, Peg says that Al was impotent in 74, but by 79 it cleared right up. That's odd because at that rate, Al Bundy could be my father because I was born in 79, in September. So if his impotency cleared up in January, that means he could actually be my father.
Are you writing like Al Bundy as my daddy fan fiction over there?
Hey.
Hey, I understand. You're just mastering the possibilities.
Yeah. So, it's funny you say that. How did Peg use Al's credit card for the shopping while he was trying to buy a grilled cheese sandwich and master the possibility, somebody asks?
You know what? That is weird because he was buying that for lunch. So maybe they went shopping in the morning.
But didn't they just walk in with their bags right before he came home?
They did. And then he came home and he apparently, stayed
with
out
Sven?
with Sven pretty late, who gives bad advice because, if it's for the family. You're right. That doesn't really line up.
Wow. So Al could not have been trying to use his credit card to buy that grilled cheese sandwich because Peg was using it with Bud for shopping. Interesting. Adam Claver says, which character stole the season?
Obviously Steve. What kind of question is that? Steve, right, Alex? Right, Alex?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I thought. But who's your second up?
Well, his character is so in question. I think we were supposed to go over that whole thing too. We were supposed to put a lot of thought into what happened to Steve's character arc this season. And it's funny because he's the guy that I claimed he knew his character the best as soon as the show started. And Marcy confirmed that when we interviewed her because she said that he was the only character that was written for ahead of time. And yet, by the time you get to episodes like even build a better mousetrap, him going along with Al dressing up in that getup, and even going with Guys and Dolls, how he just becomes obsessed with his baseball thing and sells Marcy's toy. It just seems like after You Better Watch Out, by 1988 he just became a different guy.
Well, it's the influence of Al. Like, who he was in season 1 is not who he is in season 2, because in season 1, a lot of times he's pushing back that influence from Al. But in season 2, the influence is too strong. It's too there. So you see the duality of his character, like battling inside him for him to be the Marcy version of Steve or the Al version of Steve. And I feel like we start seeing the Al version start taking over a little bit more in season 2. And I think as we continue, we'll see more of that Al version of Steve come out until we finally get to the point where there is no Marcy version of Steve left. And that's why the tragic ending has to happen.
Right. And this is all at You Better Watch Out. Was pretty much the last time he was really like Steve. You can argue that in Earth Angel, him calling Tiffany was a little bit out of character, but really nothing else. If you look at every single one of these episodes, If I Were a Rich Man, he didn't steal from the bank. Buck Can Do It, he was pretty into getting Buck neutered. Girls Want to Have Fun, look how he was pretty nice to Marcy about it, even though he did say, so, you lost your ring down Zorro's pants, huh? Like, it was still Steve, though. The Razor's Edge, that, I think, was still Steve just standing his ground. I don't think it was not Steve.
Yeah, I think it was Steve standing his ground, much like how he stood his ground in Buck Can Do It about the vasectomy.
Right, yeah. And, one big thing I came up with, it just dawned on me that they could have called back an amazing joke and totally dropped the ball in Impotent. Did you notice how Steve never referred to a part of his body?
Oh, how he would never refer to him shaving his face? What are you getting at?
He never called his penis Mr. Mike.
Oh, that's right. He never spoke of Mr. Mike.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you use Mr. Mike in Impotent? Like, that's so weird because you just used it in Buck Can Do It again. And that was I forgot the very first time.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because he definitely could have used Mr. Mike.
I think Buck Can Do It was the first time, and Razor's Edge was the second time, right? Because she said there's no room at the inn for Mr. Mike or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and then it could have been one more time in Impotent, and it just didn't happen. So that left me feeling a little limp.
Yeah, that was
smooth. Yeah,
that was smooth. I like that. I just wonder, like, if it was the same writers in Buck Can Do It and the Razor's Edge, and not the same writer involved for Impotent, and that's why that joke wasn't made.
Right. Well, Chris Nonis wrote, I can't think of anything that you guys left out, but I hope you mentioned something about the sun clock on the set at some point. He's referring to the clock that is in the Bundy's house. Like, if you look at the stairs, look to the right, and just has the wall wraps around, there's a clock there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what to say about it. I mean,
I guess it's kind of like I used to do a thing where when I watched Roseanne, I would always look for the
Godzilla?
the Godzilla made by Imperial that they would have throughout the set. So I guess certain people like to find certain things in the background.
Oh, I do too.
If they stay there, like to me, I probably wouldn't have noticed a clock unless like the clock was changing or something like that. Like, because that's just not something. But thinking about that time where I noticed there was a crying clown picture right next to Peggy's vanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, people notice certain things and.
Well, I'm looking up sun clock, and you can't really find one that looks like the Bundy's one. I even typed in an 80s sun clock.
What's the difference between a sun clock and a regular clock? Because I apparently have never noticed a sun clock.
It just looks like a sun bursting as the design of it, sort of.
Oh.
And it really doesn't, but it does. Like, it doesn't literally look like that, but, I think it's the only reference it is. I'm definitely into what's in the background. I always look at the record player. I look at the paintings they got on the walls. I think they have a big clock somewhere. I always want to put that stuff in my house somewhere. Like, I'm big on doing that kind of thing. But I can't find a sun clock anywhere. So I think we'll have to do more investigation on that as we go. So this might be Chris again, but I'm not sure. Because like I said, I pasted these wrong. Someone wrote, my brother and I had an over-under. How long this is a great question. How long do you think the show would have lasted if Steve and Marcy would have been the main and Peg and Al were the neighbors? Well, here's his answers real quick. My brother says 1 season. Since it's season 1 and 2 were close, I picked 2 seasons.
I think it would have went a couple of seasons. Like, my vote's probably going to be for 3, but I don't think it would have lasted as long because, like, Steve and Marcy are interesting, but being the like normal people with kooky neighbors has been done. Okay. Even in the 80s, that's been done. That is literally Family Matters. Like it's been done. So I don't think it would have lasted quite as long because as much as I love Steve,
right?
I think Steve makes the Steve and Marcy characters improve the Bundy characters. I don't see the Bundy character. If the roles were reversed, I don't see the Bundy characters improving Steve and Marcy's characters.
Right. They don't complement them.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
And even saying that, I might have to drop down to 2 seasons. I think they would have, because it was such a new thing, I think they would have stuck with at least 2 seasons and maybe pushed it to a 3, but I couldn't see it going past 3.
Yeah, Married with Children doesn't even pick up really audience-wise until season 3 in that infamous episode where Peg is buying a bra. So once that lady writes the letter in Wisconsin, that's when things pick up. Before that, nobody realized the greatness of this show either. So to imagine that someone would have realized it with Steve and Marcy at the helm being such I wouldn't say plain people either, or it's weird. We think of them that way only in the juxtaposition with the Bundys, but they're not normal at all.
No, they're not. They're very progressive, actually.
Yeah, they're the furthest thing from just regular, plain, boring people. And I know that's the stigma that might come with when a regular, like even like you, before you started diving into this, you probably saw them that way, right? Like you didn't think of them.
Yeah, I didn't really think of them as like I thought of them as like average and normal, but really they're only average and normal in comparison to Al and Peggy, because when you do get scenes of them alone, you have a newly married couple that are highly progressive, but when you start digging into them and you see them like fighting about like her mother and his dad, like we saw in All in the Family, or Marcy doing her Pinhead like explanations of torturing things, or Steve's like thinking of how he used to be a man and now he's not, like, because it's not like you get married and you get like neutered. It's for him, he got married and became, you know, like more of a liberal feminist in comparison to he was just a average dude who was into cars and running after chicks in marathons and stuff like that. Like, it was almost like Steve was actually normal, and then he hooked up with Marcy, who apparently is so good in bed it warped his entire life, and now he's this like almost completely different person. And then them meeting with Al and Peggy, Al slowly starting to bring that back out of him. Maybe and Steve's going to return to a full form of how he used to be.
Right. Well, it's weird how as soon as Al met Steve was already coming out with wait, what was the whole thing that they did in the very first episode? Remember they kind of, I know he said, oh yeah, is she going to teach you to bury me like she buried her first three husbands?
I do remember that.
You know, we're all going to give our favorite Al moments, but I think the overwhelming winner that I guess we could just not even mention because we'll do it here is that Al describing his mother to Steve.
Oh, yeah, his mother-in-law to Steve.
Oh, his mother-in-law, right, yeah. To Steve. And remember how Marcy said that was such an and even I said it, remember how I said it? Like, this is the most amazing piece of film. And she said it was so amazing to even the creators and everybody on the show that they used to, when the live audience was sitting there, but while everybody was getting their stuff finished up and before they came out and performed the show, she said that they would play, you know, highlights of the Bundys as they, you know, progressed. And that was always a staple. They had to play that scene to every single time.
Yeah, he really sells it. Like, he really, really sells that line.
It's amazing how great he got so quickly as Al. And his character progression from season 1 to 2, we talked about it before. He has the same progression Homer Simpson had. Like, they both were that, you know, grumpy dad. Al's just like sarcastic. He delivers things in a more like dry way. And then all of a sudden, something clicked in Ed O'Neill's mind. And he just became something that we'll never understand. You know, and yet we all understand. It's pretty amazing, and it's like a television character that is, I don't know, it's hard to even describe the pedestal that belongs on.
Yeah, I agree. Like his character evolves way quicker than everyone else's.
Right.
Like, he just ends up going from that. He goes from grumpy to goofy really fast.
Yeah, it progresses more later on, but we have like 3 great seasons of just this with little drips and drabs of the future, but more of just what it is today. Actually, like season 3, the first episode, that is Al Bundy in a nutshell. If anybody thinks Al Bundy, it's like the first episode of season 3, he thought he could. That embodies everything you ever thought about Al Bundy, especially his speech at the end to the librarian, which we're going to get into on the next review. So tune in for that, guys. Let's get to the main cast. Now let's, last season wrap-up show, we talked about everyone's favorite moments. So let's talk about I'll go backwards. I'll make Al the top dog. So I'll go backwards with a dog and start with Buck. Now, what is Buck's favorite, what's, your favorite moment on the show for Buck Bundy?
Who you want to
I
start?
mean, I would probably have to go with when he turns into a damn person.
Yeah, that was something.
It's creepy, man.
Yeah, looking into the eyes of that thing was really weird. Now, Jerry already gave his answer on the first season wrap-up. He apparently skipped ahead and watched a couple from season 2, so I'm going to see if he remembers his answer now, Jerry. What did you say?
I don't know. I wonder if it's still... No, it can't be. It definitely is not the same, because I think at that point I had not gotten far enough in the season as to what my answer is now.
Okay, let's see. Go ahead.
My answer now is him chewing on the shoe at Christmas.
Ooh. Yeah, last time you said it was when he was banging all the bitches.
Yeah. Oh, that I actually watched that episode today, and it's one of those episodes that I could definitely go back and watch because the humor in it is very, very just fun and easy. Right. But him chewing on the Christmas shoe
It's his best moment.
Is just, it makes me feel like Christmas is here.
Yeah, it does give you that warm feeling. Okay, well, Justin says when he's a half human. You say chewing on Santa's high-top Reebok. And I say it's when Peggy's relatives came over and they said, "We're famished," and he ran upstairs.
Oh, that was good, too.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, now Marcy Rhodes. Okay, obviously the thing to talk about for us in particular is that interview with her. That's my favorite moment of season 2 with her. But yeah, but of course we're gonna get to the show. But let's just reflect really quick before we do, guys. So that interview, like, can you imagine that? We just started this show this year, and by the second season's reviews, we already landed a major cast member of Married with Children.
If you were to rank the key cast members in terms of importance, obviously Al would be the first, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Would you say Katie Seagal for the second?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, what about the third?
I think it's Marcy.
I'm not talking about how hard they are to get either. Take that out of consideration.
No, I think...
say that they were equally hard to get. Let's say Christina Applegate was just as hard to get as Amanda Beers. Would you say that Marcy is third tier, third place?
Yeah, I think she because the thing is, when it the kids get better later in the show, Marcy was good and important from the get-go.
Yeah, and she becomes more important to the universe of Married with Children as time goes on. She became a producer, a director, she had a lot of involvement. And of course she had enough creative involvement or say that it caused a rift between her and Ed O'Neill to the point where by, season probably halfway through 10 into 11, all of 11, they just constantly argued or something, and it got to the point where, although the show was good, she said if you were a fly on the wall during season 11, you would know why there was no season 12, or they didn't even want to bother with a goodbye show. That's how much friction was caused because she became too important. And I guess Ed O'Neill, who knows? You can't really judge any of this because we don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know enough details to say who's wrong or right, or if there even is anybody that's wrong or right. And maybe it's just it was a long process of making 11 seasons of a show, and it's just you kind of get done with it.
Yeah, and you got to think how amazing is that we don't fully know what happened. No one has talked about it.
I didn't know that it wasn't canceled. I figured it would have been canceled, or they decided to give. I didn't know that it kind of ended because of
goings on the set.
Yeah, huh?
Just too much. But I could see that, man. I mean, think about it. Look at all these bands who can't even say it. The Beatles hated each other by the time they were doing Let It Be. you know, and that was only 8 years.
I just listened to Travis Barker's book, the drummer from Blink-182.
Yeah.
And, like, they barely stayed together at all. And even when they got back together after Travis almost died in that plane crash,
right,
it only lasted like a year.
They keep on ruining that band. They had so much momentum going.
It's season 2, and y'all have been trying to kick me off since season 1.
But we're gonna get it done on 4, and we're gonna have an excuse. We're gonna say, look, the show itself freshened up around season 5. I think we have to do that.
The people will email you and start a petition for me to come back.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Don't worry. We'll make it happen. So, all right. So let's talk about Marcy now, show-wise. No more Amanda Burst. Let's talk about Marcy herself. I mean, Marcy the character. To me, like, that's the real person. Now, her standout episodes are obviously Girls Want to Have Fun, Guys and Dolls, Razor's Edge.
Impotent,
Razor's Edge, yep. So she has a good pile of episodes she's important in. So what is your favorite moment, Justin?
I really liked Razor's Edge. I liked Impotent as well, but I liked Razor's Edge for Marcy. I think that battle of like her, like, isn't that the episode where she like takes off her robe and then she's all like, yeah,
trench coat.
Yeah, I thought that was like a standout moment for her because it just, I feel like that kind of just duality with her character where she's like feminist, but then she's like willing to just give in to that a little bit is kind of her, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably my favorite episode with her.
Time to pull out the big guns sometimes.
Yeah.
How about you, Jerry?
It's her reacting to the speech Al gives her in Impotent. And at the end of it, when she's like yelling at him for being a pig, and he's like, but you're going to take the advice? And she's like, yes. I just thought that even when she has to come to Al for advice, gets good advice, she still has to like make sure she throws that one last punch. But she's still going to put her tail between her legs and walk away at the end of it because she learned her lesson in season 1. She knows she's got to be straightforward when it comes to Al.
Yes, you do. My favorite, I do this a lot. I go for the typical answer because sometimes they just really do showcase their stuff when they really get that platform. And I think it is Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Like, I think what I liked about it most, though, is not necessarily like her performance throughout the whole thing or anything like that. I really liked her wild side. I think it's like the first time we saw her wild side, right? You know, I think it just shows that she could get down like that and she's cool that way. And she's like really sexual. So that's pretty cool. And it was just such a fun episode. Just so funny with the construction worker and the Zorro and all these guys. So, I don't know, and the cowboy, that's just, like, hilarious to me, and it's a great premise, losing your ring down a stripper's pants and having to, you know.
Or did she?
No, she did not. As we talked about and screen capped and posted on our Facebook page that when she pulled her hand back out of his pants, you could see that ring pop out. Now, we asked her about that, Jerry himself, said to Amanda Burst, did you know that happened? And she had zero recollection. So her ring popped out. She turned around, sat down. They yelled, cut. And nobody ever came up to her and said, hey, listen, here's that ring. It actually fell, but it don't matter. Nobody could see that stuff. Like, nobody even said that. So that's interesting. So we heard it from the horse's mouth. She never knew that she did that. And you would have never learned that information otherwise, so stick around. Now, Steve. Steve is the man of the minute. Steve had some standout episodes, The Razor's Edge, Impotent. I guess he was a key point in Girls Just Want to Have Fun also. And he had the big episode with Al, If I Were a Rich Man. That's about it. Father Load, I guess you could say, is a good episode for him. So let's go to Jerry first this time, Jerry. What is your favorite character? What is his standout moment on season 2?
Having a beard. Just him having a beard. But that entire episode, because I think it shows us the duality we've been seeing in Steve, where he gets influenced by Al and how that's changing him episode per episode and slowly becoming more and more and more, which, like, when I pointed out that Impotent has the same plot that is the plan of Al and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. At the beginning of the season, he bitched out and didn't do it. But by the end of the season in Impotent, he did it. He did an Al plan. And the Razor's Edge is kind of right in the middle, where we have him standing up for his beard and trying to stay strong, looking at a picture of Al's mother-in-law, and it just did not work. He eventually broke because I don't know what it is about Marcy, but he is all about it. What do y'all guys think it is about Marcy that he just loses sexually? Is she like the only chick that's let him ever do anal or something, that like he's like that he's like, she'll let me do that, no one else lets me do that? Because you gotta think, like, Alex just talked about how crazy Marcy was in Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which, by the way, Alex, that originally was my answer. I literally had her wild side in Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, it's great.
You have, like, all these, like, either her being deep and dark, like saying some shit Pinhead would say in Hellraiser.
Yes.
Or
I love those moments.
Yeah, or her, like, being very sexual, dressing like Bo Peep, dressing like a hooker. You have all this stuff, and it's just like, man, she must be fantastic in bed, because Steve couldn't hold out. How long did he hold out? Like a week on top of the week he was gone, so he had maybe 2 weeks.
Wow.
That he just could not go 2 weeks.
No, I guess not.
So I just think it's crazy.
Yeah. No, she's going to do things in the future that will definitely lead you to believe that she is amazing in bed. She just brings all the passion, and she's just way into it, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's something to look forward to. And as the show goes on, it gets crazier, and that all comes out. So
hold on. Where are we on, Marcy or Steve?
We're on Steve right now.
I feel like that went into Marcy.
Well, Steve always goes into Marcy.
Whoa.
Mr. Mike went into Marcy.
Yeah, but Steve having a beard. That's my favorite Steve moment.
How about you, Justin?
I gotta, like, couple it kind of like Jerry did a little bit. Like, my favorite moments are when Steve gets rebellious, and I love the Steve Beard dynamic in Razor's Edge, but and even the last line in Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
So you lost your ring down Zorro's pants.
Yeah, that's the line I'm talking about.
Yeah, not the one that you performed where you go, I don't know. It says it for you.
Man, that's cringy to me, dude. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't like hearing myself do that. I went back and listened to that because they said that I did best. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, what are they listening to? I like Impotent too. Honestly,
yeah.
I like that you find out that it's this sinister plan. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, that reveal is tough to top. I'm gonna go. Although I thought it was, it's crazy, but if we like treat it real life, that's crazy, Impotent. But yeah, as a show, oh yeah, I mean, it's so awesome to get Marcy to do all this crazy stuff, have the wife of your dreams, and then it's all this plot that Al cooked up and makes it cool, and it's cooler that Steve went along with this, harebrained scheme. So it's just like perfect. So yeah. Mine's also Impotent, that whole thing. Okay, so let's move on to Kelly Bundy, guys. Kelly Bundy, the daughter of Al and Peg, is really coming into her own in season 2. She has a lot of, like, compared to season 1, oh my god. This was so much better. Like, the most you got out of that in the episode Married Without Children, when Steve and Marcy watch her, like, that was... And she has the party at their house. That was like her big sort of moment in that season. But yeah, she's really blossomed in character wise here. So, Jerry, what's your favorite moment for Kelly Bundy in season 2?
I'm worried I might have the exact same one as Justin, but it's her reaction to finding out about John from Winker County. That's I think I might have struggled with Kelly the most because I didn't have any that like super stood out to me, and it came down to this one and the way she acted in For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I ended up going with this one because her facial expressions when she like realizes what might be was just fantastic.
Well, just remind everybody about For Whom the Bell Tolls. What was the aspects of that you liked? So,
For Whom the Bell Tolls, you have her freaking out about the phone, her sitting on the stairs and kind of like just shaking back and forth. You have Bud pulling the trick on her where he rings the bell for the bike and she runs down thinking it's there and it's not. And then her saying she was going to go live on the streets until they got a phone or she got married.
Amazing. How about you, Justin? Is that your answer?
It was, but I think that I'll just mention something else just to keep the show flowing. I like the moments that we have in the episode. How do you spell revenge? I believe, which is the tattoo. Because I thought that was like a good like actual Kelly centric episode, which we haven't got a ton of during this season and especially season 1. I liked that she had a little conflict and stuff.
Yeah, I forgot. I should have mentioned her standout episodes are How Do You Spell Revenge and The Great Escape. Looking around, doesn't you could say Peggy Loves Al, nah, she just had a moment. It wasn't big.
The Great Escape one was good too, but the one that Jerry mentioned where she finds out about her, what was it, the cousin at the feed store or something like that? Oh man. That is great. That might be one of my favorite moments of the entire show because it's like an incest joke. You know what I mean? Like that's funny to me.
We should make like screen cap that face palm and meme that and say when you find out and then make up something new every time.
Yeah.
When you find out Married with Children podcast is taking off for 1 week.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, so my favorite Kelly moments has to be probably when she's so dumb that she's believing Bud with all the Gilligan things and
Dude, that was great.
Yeah, and she's writing reports on the Addams Family. In this one they really had a song. And stuff like that. So yeah, those are great Kelly moments. Now let's get to Bud. His standout kind of moments really are Master the Possibilities, when he get all that stuff on Buck's credit card and he had 2 girls at one time, which in the Bundy family, that's a double date. Justin, what is your favorite Bud moments of the season?
Definitely has to be like one of his quick-witted lines on Kelly. Like, I always think of the grass stain one.
Oh God.
Yeah. And then the virgin at they were at the table, and what did he? Do you guys remember what he said?
Oh, y'all are only making fun of me because I'm the only virgin here.
Yeah, I like that one.
Cherry still uses that line.
Hold up, I'm contemplating my virginity. Now, actually, you picked mine for your Kelly. I thought that scene was hilarious. I gave Bud the telling his sister that Robin Crusoe is Gilligan's Island, and he's like, a 3-hour tour. You got to say it twice. It's important.
3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour. Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious. Like, there's so many, like, Bud and this season really shines at the comeback lines. I didn't feel like he ever got like his own storyline in here.
He's like a little Jerry.
I mean, yeah, when he was pulling those 2 chicks, he pulled that other chick on the Valentine's Day thing.
And now look at him complimenting himself.
And let's not forget about the penthouse moment. That was great.
Yeah, that was a good visual gag.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Him going downstairs to search for Al's money in Father Load, and then he comes upstairs. He's like, "I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm tired." And
it's like, doesn't it feel like it's like 4:30 p.m. or something?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's tired. So he had that penthouse I talked about that I bought January 1986 in the stuffed down the back of his jeans, and it's sticking out over his shirt. Because we learned this year that he's amazing at hiding things. Like when he hid the Tang jar, and it looked like a chest burster from Alien, Jerry said.
Well, he gets it from his dad, because his dad sucks at hiding stuff, too.
Yeah, that's what we do find out. So, yeah, these guys have no idea how to hide anything. Yeah, my favorite Bud moments, a lot came from The Great Escape. Like when he was just destroying Kelly in the beginning of that whole thing with the report card and this, that, the other thing. And of course, like I said, she came back with the Lover's Lane stuff, but sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire, I guess, and she did. But that was just some great stuff. And okay, so Peg Bundy, standout episode, pretty much just Alley of the Dolls. And if you want to throw in Master of the Possibilities with Buck's credit card, you can. Peggy Loves Al, I wouldn't say that was a highlight of hers, but it's something. And I guess another highlight episode of hers would be Just Married with Children on the game show episode. That seemed to be revolving around her since Al took all the torture. So, Jerry, what is your standout Peg moment?
I can't get over the mouse story from Build a Better Mousetrap. I had a bunch of different answers. I kept coming back to that one. She thought it was a chihuahua, and it was a mouse. And they made fun of her for having worms in her hair. Where's the little mouse girl? There.
Wow.
I just have to go back to that, because just the way she tells that little story and then ends it with that song kind of was just, I love that.
Wow. It was disturbing. How about you, Justin?
I feel like she didn't really have because for being such a main, it's almost like Stephen Marcy had more standout episodes than Peg did. And I just come back to her sex points, because I think that's where she's best, is when she's she gets the sex point for manipulating Al. I like when she's cunning. She's not very cunning, but sometimes usually when it involves sex, she can be a little cunning. So
wow.
I'll go with that.
That's funny, because my favorite is when she ran down the stairs and slammed the door when Tiffany was trying to leave the house, and she's like, "Stay forever," and then runs back upstairs.
Oh yeah.
Because she's finally getting sex with Al on a regular basis, because Al keeps checking out Tiffany and getting all worked up and taking it out on her. So we're gonna end off the greatest, our favorite moments with a character with Al Daniel Bundy. So now his standout episodes are If I Were a Rich Man, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Born to Walk,
Build a Better Mousetrap for sure.
Build a Better Mousetrap, Better Watch Out, because he played Santa, Master of the Possibilities, Peggy Loves Al, he was, obviously a big part of that. And Just Married with Children, the game show one. Father Load, obviously. So, where are we going with that, Justin?
What is the episode where Al loses his license?
Born to Walk.
Born to Walk. For some reason, I think of that one. I really like that episode. It's like Al Bundy in an episode, where towards the end where he's like, it's gonna win, or so he knows that it's gonna win because it's just his luck, And I think I like that moment the best.
Dr. Footwear?
Yeah, Dr. Footwear, yeah.
Okay, Jerry, what is your favorite Al Bundy highlight of season 2?
The speech Al gives Steve in Girls Just Want to Have Fun Part 2 when he's giving her the ring. And he's just like, and when you tell her you got the ring from me. Because I rewatched I watched all the way to From Whom the Bell Tolls today, just I had it in the background when I was doing a bunch of stuff around the house today. And so I went with this speech.
Nice. Yeah, both great choices. All great choices so far. Well, I'll finish it off with a controversial statement for you two. It's Earth Angel. I loved his reaction to women a lot. I think I probably picked in season 1. My favorite was him in Luke's apartment with the girls. In this season, my favorite is him with Tiffany. Like his reaction, starting from "Welcome home, Tiff," all the way to even him reacting to her not being there anymore. Like everything, but obviously the highlight is the way he acted, even in front of Peg, where he says, "Well, Bud, get a blanket and a pillow for the couch so your mother will be comfortable." And so Tiffany will be comfortable. Like all that kind of stuff is just classic greatness, and it just makes me so happy to watch. I don't know. It's just like amazing. So, all right, guys, that was our central character favorite moments of the season segment of this season 2 wrap-up show for Married with Children on the Married with Children podcast, brought to you by No Ma'am.
No Ma'am will be right back to wrap up this week's review. Be sure to join their Facebook group page for all the podcast news and updates. Just type in www.facebook.com/groups/Married with Children podcast. Be sure to subscribe to them on iTunes and please leave a review telling them what you think of the show. To subscribe to their YouTube channel, just go to channels and search up Married with Children podcast. You can email them at marriedwchildrenpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for checking out this review. Now the guys are going to give their final thoughts and ratings of this week's episode.
Every end of the episode, we always rate the episode. So, we have all of our ratings here and things like that. What we're going to do is we're going to give you the top 3 favorite episodes from each of us and our 2 least favorite for season 2. So let's go in the same order that we always go to, even for rating. So, Justin, what are your top 3 episodes of season 2?
Do you want to do worst first so we don't end on a bad note?
Yeah, I think we said that last time. How come I never remember? Okay, what are your least 2 favorite episodes?
All right. Oh, and by the way, there is actually, you say that we go in the same order that we rate. Did you know that there's one episode where you went to Jerry first?
Was it was it The Razor's Edge?
I believe it was in the first season.
Wow.
Huh.
It was probably a
like
Steve-centered episode.
Yeah, but I always remembered that because at first I was like, oh, maybe he's going to go back and forth now. And then you just never went back and forth. You just went back to me forever.
I'll tell you what. Whoever finds the answer to that question, what is the one episode where I went to Jerry first for ratings, you win a No Ma'am t-shirt.
Nice. Great little piece of Married with Children podcast trivia. I like it.
Yep. So the first person, I will screen cap. I'll do whatever necessary to let everybody know that it's been answered. It'll be in our Facebook group page. So whoever answers first gets that t-shirt. Okay, so go ahead. Give us your least favorite episodes of season 2.
Well, my least favorite this season is interesting because I actually didn't rate a single episode under a 3 this season, where I did have a 2.5 last season. So just judging by my ratings, my threes, judging by my 3 threes, I had 3 of them. I'm probably gonna have to go with the first one that I don't like. My first least favorite is the Buck-centric episode. I don't really remember a whole lot about that episode, and I think that's probably because it's a little forgettable. Besides that image of that's the only thing I remember from that episode. And then my second least favorite episode is Guys and Dolls. And really the only thing that I remember from that episode is them going outside and like the weird look to it and like music, I think.
Right.
And that's like all I remember from that episode. So those are my two least favorite episodes from this season. But I still, at the time, didn't think that they were necessarily bad episodes.
Yes. So two episodes this season I rated a 2.5. The first being Earth Angel, which I
Do you stand by that?
Yeah, I do. Earth Angel was just a little too cringy for me and a little too on the nose. I just don't see myself going back and watching it. But I do have to say, I think Fatherload was the worst episode from a technical standpoint. I also gave it a 2.5. I had a lot of issues with the writing. I had a lot of issues just in general with that episode. So Earth Angel and Fatherload win it for me.
Wow. Okay. My two least favorite episodes are Mousetrap is one. And trust me, guys, I do realize it's just a dumb, fun episode. A lot of people in their feedback were saying that they really do like that one, and it's good. It's a standout one for them. I'm not acting like I'm some like intellectual whatever, where I have to be intellectually stimulated by great dialogue or great writing or anything, and not just cartoonish, scenery. But I guess with this show, that stuff strikes me the most. I don't know. At least at this point of the show, it does. Slapstick is not really what I'm looking for when I watch Married with Children. So, it's like probably my least favorite. And then the other one is Peggy Loves Al, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. I just think, I don't know, especially, like I said, when you're making people call into the show to vote, that I think it definitely, if you're going to get them to be so interactive, you should have had a way stronger written episode. Those are my two. So back to Justin for your top three favorite.
These can kind of be swapped around. They're all rated the same, and I think that these are my three favorite. Even though I had 4 total episodes that were all rated this, I got to go with. I guess we rated it as a full episode, right? The Girls Just Want to Have Fun episode. Mm-hmm. That's one that really sticks out in my memory, especially after that Amanda Bierce interview where we talked about the ring and stuff, and the ring became like sort of a joke, and we kind of referenced that episode a lot, and it just sticks out in my mind as one of the fun ones from the season. And of course, you got Marcy doing good stuff in that one, and the last line is great. The next one is How Do You Spell Revenge, which is the one where Al tries to replace Peg on the baseball team because she sucks. You got the good tattoo thing going on. And I actually think that one of the cooler moments, and I didn't mention this when Al was, when we talked about Al's best moments, but the moments that you have between like him and Kelly, like I think we all mentioned that was kind of a...
Yeah, when he threw her the fruit.
Yeah. So that episode, and then my number one is The Razor's Edge. I just think that episode has everything there. It's a really, really fun episode.
Wow, great choices. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, How Do You Spell Revenge, and The Razor's Edge, all top-notch episodes. I already know Jerry's picks. Well, there's one where he doesn't maybe remember, but he said he would actually give it a 6 out of 5 if he could. So I hope he was so serious that day that he definitely has that as his number one of all. So let's see what he says. Go ahead, Jerry. What is your top 3 favorite season 2?
Number 3, Impotent. I think having the reveal and originally like
Jerry, you do realize that's the one.
Jerry.
What, Impotent? As my number 3?
You gave it a 6. That should be your number 1.
It is really good. But on reviewing today and going over them, I put it at part 3 just because it's closer to losing Steve. This is part of
What the hell?
What logic is that?
Listen, this is part of the turn where we start losing Steve. He's becoming so much like Al that eventually him and Marcy can no longer work because Marcy is stubborn and won't let him be a man. And wow. I love Impotent. It is such a good one, especially now that I go back to the Girls Just Want to Have Fun episode. I think that makes Impotent even better. But Impotent's number 3. Number 2, You Better Watch Out. I loved the dark and depressing atmosphere of that entire episode because it's a Christmas episode. And it should be dark and depressing, and it was. But listening to our podcast on that episode, I was literally like, by the end of that show, I was like, man, I can't wait for Christmas. I was so excited for Christmas. It's a fun episode. And even though I was wrong on that episode about the whole Santa Claus falling thing.
Oh, good. You do realize that.
Yes. Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong both times. I questioned you on this show. I was wrong both times.
You should know better, man.
I'm a maniac.
You got to let me make these mistakes, man. You just got to let me go out there and do it. I'll never learn.
So how did you feel when you saw that you were wrong? Not because of us, but how did you feel? Like you were like, what? Why in the world?
I was just like, it's one of those times where I was just like, man, I watched this episode twice. How did I screw that up so bad?
You were so sure too.
I was so sure. I was 100% there. I'm like maybe both times I was taking a note when they were doing. I'm like, I bet I was taking the note as they turned. Like, they don't even see him fall, and
yeah, he's writing it down. They're all looking.
Exactly.
That's great.
And then number 1 is like JP, The Razor's Edge. That is, I think, such a good episode for Steve because it's right in the middle. It's half the Marcy Steve and half the Al Steve.
Right.
And I love it. And I love Steve in a beard and flannel. I'm going to put it out there.
He's the brawny man.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. So let's review that. Impotent, You Better Watch Out, and Razor's Edge. Again, all top quality episodes. We know our stuff. All right. Well, my 3 favorite episodes of season 2 are, I'll put it at number 3. I didn't really have an order, but I guess I could do that. It's You Better Watch Out. That's my 3rd favorite of the year. It's just so good. And I remember growing up, I used to think that was the lesser of the 2 main Christmas ones. I was really, they did a lot, actually, but more down the road during like those Stranger seasons, like in 8, 9, 10, 11. They did more Christmas stuff. But the 2 big ones are this one and the Sam Kinison one. And of course, since this didn't have Sam, I always felt that it's a little lesser. But as I really gave it better look, no, it's no lesser. Just because it's not any less great, I should say, because Sam Kinison's not in it. But it is just amazing. There's not a thing that's missing from that episode. So You Better Watch Out is my first of the 3. So that's my 3rd favorite one of the season. My 2nd favorite is Earth Angel.
Ooh. So your favorite, Jerry's least favorite.
Wow, amazing, right? Yeah, that's just a jam-packed episode. Everything I've already stated about Al's reactions, the way the whole town worked, the way the people came into the yard and paid Al to work there, the way Steve became infatuated with her and was calling her and stuff, and Marcy being jealous because she stopped Steve stopped having sex with Marcy when this girl came around, and everybody else started having sex with their creepy, gross wives. So it's such a funny, weird thing how that happened. I gotta say, my first favorite, this is gonna really shock you guys, It's how do you spell revenge? I don't know. That was just always something I just thought was amazing. Starting with the baseball stuff, and then Kelly and Brian, and to top it off with Jimmy, and then the description of his wife when Al goes there to hit him with the baseball bat. I mean, it was just like the perfect episode, and I laughed so much, and I love that kind of weird stuff. I mean, it's interchangeable, though. I could bounce around between that, Earth Angel, or Better Watch Out. But for now, I picked that one. So, guys, we have a lot to look forward to. We accomplished a lot. We have reviewed 22 episodes for Season 2, 13 for Season 1. That's a total of about 67 episodes, I think. So,
wait, did you just say a total of 67 episodes?
Wait a minute here.
I don't got Justin's magic calculator.
I was going to say, I think it would be like 35?
It's 35, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so off.
Dude, I was just kidding. Oh, come on. You guys don't like that kind of dummy humor?
That was a joke?
Yes.
Man.
I was just waiting to see when you guys would catch it.
Wow, that was almost as bad as Earth Angel.
Whoa.
Ooh. Now he's critiquing my jokes. So yeah, guys, we're like Star Trek. We're on a 5-year mission here, and it's 11 seasons of Married with Children, and we knocked down 2 so far, and it's been a great time. We started the first week of January 2017 on basically almost on a 30-year anniversary of when the show started. So that's really kind of perfect. Now, Season 3, guys, here's what you have to look forward to. Here are the episodes we are going to watch and review in the coming weeks. He Thought He Could, I'm Going to Sweatland, Poke High, The Camping Show, A Dump of My Own, Her Cups Runneth Over, which I believe is the big controversial episode where the woman in Wisconsin wrote the letter, and it made the ratings just go through the roof. The Bald and the Beautiful, The Gypsy Cried, Requiem for a Dead Barber, I'll See You in Court, Eaten Out, My Mom the Mom, Can't Dance, Don't Ask Me, A 3-Job, No Income Family, The Harder They Fall, The House That Peg Lost, Married with Prom Queen, Part 1 and 2, The Dateless Amigo, The Computer Show, Life's a Beach, and Here's Looking at You, Kid. Wow.
Yeah, there's a few that sound really interesting to me in there.
Dude, as I was looking through this, I was literally like, I wanted to cry in happiness.
Nice.
Oh my God. Like, I'm looking at some of these, like the preview pictures, and I'm like, man, these are insanely amazing. This is going to be the greatest.
Is it going to be the greatest season of Married with Children podcast ever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, we made season 1 work, and that, we made good shows out of that. This is almost like moron proof. And if we ruin this, we should just stop and sell the rights to the show. So, yep, that's it, guys. So, what do you guys have to say to end out Season 2? What are you looking forward to in Season 3?
I want to see more Bud. I want to see more Bud going after chicks, because they started playing with that in Season 2, and now it's time to really put that up. I'm looking for more Steve, always more Steve, and that's the 2 biggest that I want out of Season 3.
So I'm curious on a few things. I'm curious on the double episode, the 2-parter. I always like those. Those seem to have like the most amount of story sometimes.
Oh, it's a solid one.
I'm also curious on the episode I'll See You in Court. For some reason, it says the air date is in 2002.
Okay. Wow. I'm so glad you brought that up. I was just about to. It's because that is called the Lost episode.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
If you look at the description, it says right here, In the infamous lost episode, Al and Peg learn they have been videotaped getting intimate at... Oh. Oh my god. Why did I say inmate? We've been up... It's very late, guys. We've been in the nudie bar for hours. We are all so tired.
It's hot in here.
It's very hot. Getting intimate at a sleazy motel. The same thing has also happened to Steve and Marcy. They decide to take the matter to court.
Nice. This sounds very interesting. That's cool. And then the other one that I'm very interested in is the episode that started the Terry Racolta boycott campaign.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see that. We should all like judge if we think it's too far. If they took it too far.
Yeah. So those are some of the ones I'm interested in. I would like to see more Bud as well, and of course more Steve. Like I know that Jerry is the Steve fanboy, but I think as of right now, Steve is my favorite character.
Wow, look at you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, ride his coattails. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. This is a bandwagon you should jump on.
Yeah.
Right. My things I'm looking forward to the most are He Thought He Could, I'm Going to Sweatland, The Gypsy Cried, Eaten Out, The Harder They Fall, The Computer Show.
So season 3 then.
Yeah.
So just everything in season 3.
Yeah, from the first to the last. Yep. All right, guys. Well, that was it. Time to leave the nudie bar, no matter how much we wish we could just stay here. As you know, some of us sleep here. I won't say any names. But, yeah. So, guys, thanks for listening to the Season 2 wrap-up show with us, No Ma'am, on the Married with Children podcast. Remember to tell all of your friends who have ever mentioned they like Married with Children in any way, shape, or form. Please tell them about our show. Maybe they'll check it out, maybe they'll dig it, and the community just keeps getting bigger. You know, we need more honorary members of No Man. Well, see you next week.
Guys, keep it Steve out there. Keep it Steve.
See you later.